guys, Profe Pablo here, back with another Minecraft tutorial. Today we are going to be looking at minecart rail systems, a very basic rail system. We're going to look at the kind that I've used in my world and how we can improve it. So, right now we're in my creative world. There's a village here that is close by to my base, and we are going to build a really cool system to get back and forth. Now, in my old world, this is kind of my experimental world. In my old world, I had a system that was like this, where I would have a block with a button. That button would power this powered rail, which would get the minecart to move. And about every 5 to 10 blocks, I would put another powered rail, which you have to power either with a redstone torch. You could also power it. Let me go ahead and grab some levers. You could also power it with a lever that you flip on or off, for that matter, if you want. Redstone torches are probably the easiest, though. And then, yeah, and that was basically it. So you have a cart that's on one end, press the button, powers that rail, and then it comes back here. And the nice thing is that powered rails, when turned off, actually stop a cart. Here, let me show you. So I'm going to take this off. So this powered rail is no longer active. And I get in the cart, and I press this button. I'll move forward until I hit a powered rail, and that rail is off, so the cart no longer moves. So it's nice because at the end, you have these non-powered rails until you power them with a button. The problem with this super simple build is that mobs would get into my minecart and steal it. And they would be traveling back and forth on this rail system, and I would get in the cart and run into them, and they would slow me down and mess everything up. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. See how mobs just get in and ride around? What in the world? And I didn't understand the physics of rails that well. I thought you had to have one every 5 to 10 spaces, and that's actually inaccurate. It's not true. So what we are going to do is take this basic system and improve on it in this video. Now, the first way we're going to improve on it, I've already done, but I want to show you, is that the way that rails work is that 3 rails in a row actually bring you up to maximum speed on a flat surface. Now, if you're going downhill, you're actually going to be going fast anyway without powered rails. And if you go uphill, you're going to need more powered rails to maintain speed. But after you hit maximum speed, you can actually travel about 34 blocks. Now I'm doing mine every 30, but about 34 blocks and still maintain the same speed. And you only need 1 powered rail to keep you going at that speed. So before I was placing a powered rail every 10 blocks, but now I know you just need 3 powered rails at the beginning and at the end, and then 1 powered rail every 30 blocks or so, 30 to 35 blocks. So I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek of this rail. I went ahead and did that all the way back to my base. So let me lay down a rail here, or a cart here, press my button to get moving, brings me up to maximum speed, and then every 30 blocks I have another powered rail. And I will stay at this constant speed all the way back to my base. Okay, I finally made it back to my base, and I can take the minecart off, and that way mobs don't steal it. But I learned a better system to helping keep my minecarts out of the hands of mobs, which end up clogging up my rails and messing everything up. So what we are going to do is we are going to take this system. Now, notice I have a rail here and then the 3 rails that bring us up to maximum speed. What I'm going to do is take away this rail, replace it with a normal rail, and then at least 2 rails away, because we're going to do something with that later, I'm going to place a powered rail, a block going up, another powered rail, and then another block going up, and then I'm going to leave a gap, and I'm going to build a block 1 high so that my cart hits this block and falls down, And down here, I'm going to put a normal rail and put some blocks to close that in. Now, what this does is it creates basically a minecart storage system so that it won't matter if mobs get in the cart, they can't go anywhere, and I can have multiple carts down here. Let me show you. Oop, forgot something essential. I have to power these. So let me put down a block and a torch that powers my 3 rails. Okay, so let me show you how it works now that I have all the powered rails. Get in my cart, go forward, and boom. That is now the end of my ride. And the cart stays down here. Now, if I'm transporting material or items or mobs, same thing will happen. They'll go up there and fall down in this little crack. Now I'm going to put 3 carts there. And you'll notice that when I come to break the carts, let me switch over to survival so you can see. And when I come to break it, there's 1, 2, and 3. So they were all here, just storing here. They just looked like 1 cart, but it was actually 3 carts in that area. So all the carts are stored right here for you. So it's a cart storage system, and mobs can't steal it. So we are obviously going to make this on both ends of the track, but there's something else we could do that's kind of fun. Right before this slope, what we can do is put another kind of rail. So we are going to put an activator rail right before the slope. Now this activator rail will actually need a redstone torch next to it. So we'll put a block, redstone torch, that activates the activator rail. And now watch what happens when I get in a minecart. So I'm coming to the end of my journey, and boom. It throws me out of the cart. The activator rail, what it does is it shakes a minecart and activates whatever's in it or throws the mob out. Did you see that? So it knocked me out of the cart, so I don't have to jump out of my cart. I automatically get thrown off the cart. So we are going to do that to both sides of the rail as well. So it kind of makes an automatic exit plan. Now, what about getting on the track? Because this can be kind of tricky. If you try and place a cart here, it's going to throw you out. If you place a cart here, you run the risk of accidentally hitting it and it leaving you. So we're going to do something over here to make that process easier. First, I'm going to take this torch and actually move it over to this side. And what I'm going to add is a pressure plate. So I add a pressure plate close, and then connect that pressure plate to this block, which has the torch. And when I stand here, the torch goes off, and so do the rails. When I get off, torch goes on, and the rails come on. So whenever I want to come over here and place a cart down to use, I just simply step on the plate, place my cart, hop in, and then the torch turns the rails back on, and I point the direction I want to go and go in that direction. So another fun thing that you can add to rail systems are turns. So we are on an island that is getting really close to my village, but let's say I don't want to go to my village, and I have another place I want to take this rail over there to the right. Well, it's pretty simple to fix. We're going to break a few of these rails. And we are going to create a rail here and a rail here. And when we set down a rail, it goes either to the right or the left. But if we put a switch or a lever, it actually changes the direction that that rail goes. So you can change the direction that you want to go. Now, what I want to do is I would like to decide that before I get over here to the end. So I'm going to put down some redstone. I'm going to build this up here. And I'm going to put down my switch. Now, unfortunately, your redstone has to be right here. It can't be over here. It can't be over here. It has to be right here at the end of the turn for it to work. So we're going to lead this redstone over here to that switch. Okay, it does not look pretty, but it does work. So your redstone actually has to go directly in to that. It can't. I tried running it down here to the side, and it wouldn't work. So it has to run directly in to that track. So what this is going to do is this is going to give us a decision. And what you do is if you have a powered rail that is close to this, you actually come over and change that to a button. And that way, your cart will stop before it gets to the turn and you decide which way you're going to go. Now we are actually going to connect this back up to the main track. I'm going to put a power rail. I'm going to put 3 powered rails here so that we get our speed back up after the turn. Turns don't affect your speed, but because we stop here, it will affect our speed. So I want to get our speed back up as soon as possible. And the other thing is I don't want this thing to stop me every time I'm going back that way, because there's no decision to make that way. I don't need to stop. It's only this way. So to fix that problem, I'm going to take this, break it, and I'm going to put down a detector rail. Now what a detector rail does is when there's a cart that goes over it, it sends out a redstone signal and powers anything that's close by. So instead of having to press the button, going back this way, this rail will automatically be powered. So let's test it out and see what happens. Get in my cart, traveling down, I get stopped. I choose which way I want to go. So up ahead, I want to go that way. Press the button. And I go. Very good. Since I'm here, I'm already going to go ahead and make the end part of my rail. So to get on my track, I step on the pressure plate, place this down, hop in, it turns on, decide what direction I'm going, and off we go. And our detector rail should pick up on the fact that we're coming back and power that rail. Yep, it worked. Okay, let's just test out this last little turn. Okay, and I actually want to decide a little sooner so that I'm not squinting my eyes. So I'm going to move everything a little closer. Okay, let's get in our cart and test the other direction. So we go. Flip the switch according to the direction we want to go. Press the button, and off we go. Perfect. Okay guys, I hope that was a helpful tutorial on minecart rail systems. We'll be exploring those more in the future, but this is just the basics to get you going. Thanks for watching another episode of Profe Plays Minecraft.